Hello YouTube, and today I would like to talk how to make Google a great company again, because as you might know, I really don't like Google these days or what they're doing. And by the way, there's a background of me playing TF2. I have it as a background so there won't be just a one style image, so it won't be that boring. Please don't mind how I am bad at this game or that I have connection issues. I know, as I said, it just serves as a background. So, let's talk about how to make Google great again. First thing that really annoys me about Google these days is promoting leftist political SJW agenda. And that is bad. These companies have a big power and they influence a lot of people. So with this, people are influenced by SJW thoughts. They influence the way they think and the way they believe stuff. So they believe that every right-wing politician is racist, bigot, sexist and misogynist. And they have to be necessary evil because they're not liberals. That are really not even liberals, they're just socialists, but they like to call themselves liberals. And that really annoys me. And these things like coexist stuff, where I don't want to be bad person or be racist or anything, but I don't think cultures like Muslims and Christian can coexist next to each other in long term, because there are radicals on both sides, mostly on the Muslim side. Again, I don't want to be racist, but that's just the way it is. And I think that is really bad, because you influence a lot of people and you sometimes even promote lies, and you also maybe promote some minority promoting agenda, opinions like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, and that everything that is not leftist, that is not politically correct, is bad. Google promotes political correction, censors opinion, and promotes pro-left options. And that's a reason why I recently switched to DuckDuckGo. In Safari, in Brave browser, and in Firefox, basically on every browser that I have installed or used at school or anything. People think I'm weird, but I believe Google really censors right-wing opinions, which is really bad, because that means you don't support free speech, because Google recognizes as a hate speech because it's not political correct opinion. And that's the reason what Google shouldn't do. I don't want to say to promote right-wing opinions only, of course not, but to be somewhere in the middle, to be objective, to have both opinions. That, for example, on Google, where you find Hillary Clinton, there are positive things, and on DuckDuckGo there are mostly negative, because that's what people usually think. They have negative experience with her, as I know from American situation, as I watched it on the internet, on the numerous sites, and heard it from numerous people on the internet, of course, because that's how I connect with America. And because that's what they think, that's the most obvious thing that they believe. So I think Google should be that way, that they shouldn't promote right-wing opinions, but also not far left-wing opinions like socialism and other stuff like that. That is really, really unfair and doesn't support free speech, and we need to support free speech, so it should be right in the middle. And if Google will do that and stop promoting political agenda and stuff like that, I will happily use Google again. Other thing that I really don't like about Google is monopoly. They're creating monopoly, which means they're literally owning internet. They have browser monopoly. They don't even allow other browsers, even though they're based on Chromium engine, they don't allow them to use certain apps like Google Earth. You might say, but hey, Google also has monopoly. Yeah, but Google doesn't have sites that only allows Safari. You can access iCloud sites and your iCloud Drive on the net from Chrome, from Firefox, from Brave, from Microsoft Edge, from Safari, of course, and from every site ever. So why doesn't Google do that? They want to they want to have people just using Chrome, because that's what people believe is the best browser. And Google also promote their stuff like monopoly, because Chrome became popular because of promoting every time you visit some Google site. So when you visit Google homepage, they will ask you, hey, wanna download Chrome? It's free and it's good and it's secure because we told you. And people usually also use Chrome because of bad people in SJW newspaper such as Wall Street Journal, when they told you, use Chrome is the best browser, which sounds more like, yeah, use Chrome, because you don't want to explore some alternatives that might be better, and we don't want you to explore alternatives that are better. Why would you like to try something different than the others, right? That almost sounds like some communist idea that everyone will use one thing. They also have like monopoly on some other apps such as cloud services, calendars, and you can't even use Google Hangouts from Firefox. Tech Altar made video on it, check that out. And I think that is really bad. When you're basically creating state inside of the internet, it's basically bad, because Google literally created socialist state inside of Chrome web browser, and Google itself basically has monopoly on the internet. They even want to introduce their own ad block in order to let them track on you, and in order to not use any other third-party stuff, because you don't even should use third-party ad blockers in their browser. That's what I really hate about Google. And Chromium engine, in my opinion, should be open source. Google shouldn't even touch the development. It should be separate company, in my opinion. And other stuff like cloud services too, in order to not make Google own the whole internet. And if Chromium would be separate company, Google would lose their major influence, and that would be great because Chromium would be more free and not that dependent on Google stuff. Also, I would like to open source other Google apps. I don't want to steal from them, of course not. I would like to keep them, for example, YouTube and other things like that. By the way, when I talked about YouTube and censorship, I was talking about literally Google and censorship, because that's what YouTube is, and that will be like literally separate chapter. So yeah, but back to the monopoly stuff. I would like to really see people from Google to not own the entire internet. Maybe even promote some alternative browser, like sometimes even promote Firefox or Opera or Brave or the other browsers. This would make the diversity, which would make competition and more free market and more diverse market. So if Google would also do this, I would be happy again. And I really don't know why Google does that. They literally are doing the same thing that Microsoft was doing in 90s, and nobody is talking about it. I don't really know. Maybe that's because people see Google as a savior on the internet. Maybe they see them as good guys just because they say they support education, and just because they support open source, just because Chrome OS and Android are based on Linux kernel doesn't mean they really support open source. Even in operating system in school, they want to create monopoly, and that is really bad, because there will be just one thing and there won't be no competition for the others to compete. As I said in one of my earlier videos, which was called Why You Should Support Firefox, I stated that schools should use Linux laptops other than the Chrome OS, because Linux itself is faster, more lightweight, and just better than Windows in general, even though I haven't used Linux just yet. And that's what I stated. There should be more saturated market, and Google doesn't want saturated market. I'm a capitalist, but I think you should kinda put some restrictions on Google in order for them to realize that they should not create monopoly in technology. Nobody should have monopoly in technology. Not even Apple, that I really like. By the way, Apple is my favorite company, as you might not know. even in phone market they have monopoly, and that's the thing that we probably couldn't just stop by open sourcing Android. Maybe if there will be some really alternative and really solid Linux phone or something like that with only open source apps, it will maybe be a serious competition for Android. But things that Google, in my opinion, should own after open sourcing everything should be Google search, of course, YouTube, Gmail, because that's the email client of most people and it works really well, and YouTube, because Gmail and YouTube, they work together again, showing the monopoly that. But one thing, they could have monopoly. This thing is understandable that you should have Gmail in order to use YouTube, and maybe the Android. As I said, they could own Android and let other companies customize that, and not owning the other stuff in order to have more saturated market with, for example, cloud services, messaging, and stuff like that, because even Google social services doesn't really work. They don't really work, and maybe they could own maps, but not as much as they own now. They literally own the whole internet, and people will realize it when it's too late. So that's the other thing. Finally, one non-political thing that really pisses me about Google, not as company, but as their new website, is the new layout of their website. It's not as intuitive as it was in early 2000s, and I would like to have modernized version of this layout. See, it's really intuitive. You can search defaultly images, maps, and stuff, and I would like to see modernized version of that on the default Google page when you type Google in URL bar. I would like to really see that happen because it's intuitive and really comfortable. But that's a minor thing, but I would like to really see Google or even DuckDuckGo that doesn't have it to introduce it, because that would be really awesome. And that's it. As you saw in this video, I would like to see these changes happen. But what if they don't happen? Then I will stick to using DuckDuckGo on my Mac and in every browser if it's possible. I'm using DuckDuckGo on my Mac with Safari, on my iPad with Safari, and on my iPhone with Safari, because on Apple devices I only use Safari. And I also have Firefox and Brave installed on my MacBook Pro, but I just have them to play with them and experiment with them, not as default browser. But when I'm on Windows, I would choose Firefox and maybe Brave if Firefox would not work, because these two are really good alternatives to Chrome other than Safari, and they are really awesome to use, and they are made with freedom in mind, and stick to using private technology like ProtonMail, DuckDuckGo, and Firefox, and try to support open and more saturated market on the internet. So that's it for this video. Hope you like it. Leave a thumbs up, and please share this video. I would really appreciate sharing this one, because I would like to people know what I think about Google and how Google should, in my opinion, change. So I hope you like it. Leave a thumbs up, and as I said, share this and stay vigilant. Not as vigilant Christian, but stay vigilant. And for now, bye.